I guess we're like 21 months into the program at this point. And we're approaching our 30th machine. We're somewhere between
Wow.
25, 30 right now, I think, and somewhere between 35 and $40,000 a month in revenue. But I had a competitor who's not within our community
Yeah.
who played dirty, like tried to intimidate me, and I'm like, let's go, game on, buddy.
As you got your business up and running, was there like a moment or decision that really changed the direction of your business?
What's been the biggest challenge you've had with vending?
What piece of advice or wisdom that you would give yourself 21 months ago when you just first started?
Well, Kyle, great to have you on here. Excited to learn about everything you got going on because there's a lot. And so with that, would love to just dive into your origin story and really kind of that entrepreneurial brain that you have over there.
Yeah, I try and give you the shorter, the middle-ish version of it. But I got my first job when I was like 12 years old, going door to door selling newspaper subscriptions for my local newspaper. And I'm from like a medium-ish sized town in central California, super agricultural area. And one of my older brothers kind of roped me into this gig. And so, I'm a 12-year-old kid learning how to knock on doors and talk to people about subscribing to the Merced Sunstar. And I think I sold a few subscriptions. But that just gave me a level of experience. And really what I think it gave me was just a level of courage to be able to ask, to do that stuff. And then a couple years later, I think it was my same brother roped me in again to doing basically the same thing, selling Dish Network back in the day. And that was when the DVR had first come out. It was like competing with the TiVo. So you could actually pause TV and record stuff, which we just take for granted now. But I remember I had a light bulb moment because I was at the door. I was trying to sell this guy, and he really wanted it, but he was unsure about spending the money. And his wife, he was a big Raiders fan, and so I'm 14 years old. I'd not picked up a sales book. I've never done any like real training. I'm just kind of figuring it out. So I tell him, look, I can hear your wife calling you for dinner right now. She wants you to leave, close the door, and get out of here. You're interested in this. What happened if this was on a Sunday and the Raiders are playing in this fourth quarter with 90 seconds left in the game and they're driving? You going to piss your wife off, or are you going to sit and watch the game? Tell you what, buddy, if you had this DVR, all you do is hit pause. You go eat dinner, you come back, you hit play, you skip whatever commercials, you finish the game. He goes, sold, sign me up. I was like, oh, boom. And as a kid, I think I made like $150 or $200 from that deal. And I'm like, man, I might be able to like figure some things out here and make some money somehow. And even little things like we used to, for our sports teams in high school, we had like, I don't know if this is a nationwide thing, but we had cards that we would sell that local businesses would basically agree to discounts on. And so, you had these cards and you go door to, sell them however you could. And I did that and was pretty successful with that. And so I knew that I could talk, and I knew that I could sell. And then after I went to college, graduated, I entered the fitness industry and became a personal trainer, which I learned really quickly is largely a sales and kind of customer relations job. You're asking people to pay you not a crazy amount of money, but if you're asking people to pay you $300, $400, $500 a month, that takes a little bit of courage, and it's not a particularly easy ask, but it is an entry-level sales position. And then you have to keep those customers around because it's not a one-time deal like you're selling a car. You want these people to stay with you month after month, year after year. And I became a manager there where I was training other salespeople, and that was a great experience. They incentivized me where I was bonused based on the net like profits of the department that I managed, which kind of put me in a definitely not an owner position, but gave me a level of ownership, and it incentivized me to grow and to scale and to do well. And I've always been a go-getter, so I've always enjoyed a challenge. I just want to go and just go and keep going, and sometimes to a fault, especially if you ask my wife, so she'll say definitely sometimes to a fault. Yeah, then I left the gym a number of years later and ran my own fitness business for a couple of years. In between there, I had another job that I got laid off after a corporate, basically they got bought out. It was a great locally owned company and they sold to a big corporation, and they eventually laid me off. And I knew we wanted to go into business for ourselves just because I kind of always had this entrepreneurial bug. And so we wound up starting a franchise in a completely different industry. And I liked the franchise model because they give you a lot of support on the back end. I don't necessarily have to answer the phone from the customers, and had a CRM already and software built. So it was relatively plug and play. So we've been doing that, and that's been growing and that's been fun. And then at some point I saw Mike, I think I was actually from Cody Sanchez. She had mentioned you in one of her emails, and I'm on her email list. And so I clicked on it, and much to my surprise, you live an hour away from me, which just made it more interesting for me. And like most people who are even slightly business minded, I've always thought about vending machines. And it's funny, every time I tell people we're into vending machines, like 9 out of 10 people say, I've always thought about doing that. I really want to.
Exactly.
And it's like everybody's thought about it because you see these things all over the place, and you're like, they got to be making money. And so, but I just never knew how. And it's not a crazy investment, but if you're talking about dropping a couple $1,000s on a machine and entering this world, it's much more comforting if you feel like you have some level level of know-how. And I'd never invested the time to figure out how to do it. And then when I saw your program and I understood there would be like the lead generation platform as well as the educational platform just to guide me and say, well, what type of machines are best and what type of locations, how do you evaluate locations, what product is moving across the country, what product is not selling, how do you price stuff? I mean, your platform provides, in my opinion, nearly everything somebody needs to be successful. And I talked it over with my wife, and we both always kind of thought about it. And then after getting her support on it, we decided to jump in, and we've just been go 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 ever since. And it's been good for us. I think we're coming up on I guess we're like 20, 21 months into the program at this point, and it's been a good run.
That's
How many
awesome.
locations and revenue do you have right now after being 21 months in?
Yeah, I think we're approaching our 30th machine. We're somewhere between
Wow.
25, 30 right now, I think. And when the dust settles with all those guys, I think we're going to be somewhere between 35 and $40,000 a month in revenue. So
That's
I
incredible.
was I was doing
Good
the
for you,
mental
man.
math the other day. I think it's like 42 and a half or 43 grand a month is the average it requires to be at like half a million or something like that. So,
Yeah.
man, we're not terribly far away from half a million dollars in annual revenue, which I don't know, sounds cool, feels cool, whatever.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's exciting. Good for you, man. That's awesome.
So I just want to add in, like, despite I can understand, I've been in sales my whole life, and I certainly wouldn't claim to be the world's best salesman, but I've pretty much always done it, and I've read books and I've done courses and I've had like mentorship. But vending machines is by far like the easiest sales job I've ever had. It's so much easier than like selling newspaper subscriptions or Dish Network or personal training because it's something that like most people want. It's so simple, it's so intuitive, and so for people that are listening, I just like in humbleness, I can understand why it might be intimidating for somebody to hear, oh well, this guy's been in sales his whole life. Of course, he's able to crush it. A, I'm not the best salesman in the world. I think I'm okay. But B, like this is a really really easy sales. It's not, in my opinion, it's not difficult at all. There's almost no objections, and the ones that there are, they're relatively easy to overcome. And I mean, I just think that the field is ripe for the picking.
Well, and probably the hardest sales you had to do was to convince your wife, huh?
Definitely. Yeah,
How'd you do that?
my wife grew up like in pretty severe poverty. And in my experience, there's like two results of that. Number one is you're like extremely guarded of all of your money and you hoard all of it because you never want to be poor
Yeah.
again. Or two, I guess there's three. Two is you spend every penny because you never had money. And now that you have it, you're going to spend it all. Or three, you learn to live like completely indifferent to it and you don't care at all. And luckily for me, that's kind of the camp that my wife wound up in. She's not a big spender. I don't even know if she ever really checks the bank account. Of course, she has access to everything, but she'll just ask me now and then, like, "Are we doing okay?" Yeah, we're doing okay. Like I don't know if she has any idea how much money we have, and so which honestly I love, and so
Yeah.
so it wasn't that difficult to get her on board. She just kind of believed in me, and her thing is like, well, as long as we have food on the table and a roof over our head, then we'll be okay. But when I started, does give me a hard time because I told her, well, what if we just had like one or two extra machines and we were pulling in like $1,000 a month, and we already have the other business, and this could just be a little extra, and it pretty quickly evolved into something beyond one or two machines and $1,000 a month. And so, like I said, go to a fault sometimes, but I don't know. That's just my nature.
Was there like, as you got your business up and running, was there like a moment or decision that really changed the direction of your business? Like what made you say like, okay, when did it like all like start clicking? Like how many months in, like when was it like, hey, oh my gosh, like this business is different from some of these other businesses that I've dealt with, throughout my life. And like, this is like a legit business and I could scale this thing. Like talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's two moments that jump out, and the first is when I first got a warehouse and hired my first stocker. Because most of my machines are like an hour away from where I live, in the big
Mm,
city. I pretty quickly realized that the market is in the big metropolitan area. As far as I can tell, I'm probably missing opportunities in my own backyard, but I just decided to focus on the big city, and so and that's been good for us. But I got to the point where I could no longer do pop-ins and I could no longer do sales and grow the business because I was too busy working in the business and stocking. And there was
Mm.
also like a perfect storm. Like I lost through a series of unfortunate events, literally all of my employees from both businesses that I had running, and I was still operating the personal training business at the same time, which I was the employee working in. So I was training clients like 3 days a week. And then I had this other business, which is it's a carpet cleaning company. It's a service business. And then I had the vending business, and all of my employees at once like got sick, quit. One of them like just dropped his keys off on my front door and sent me a picture and said, "Hey, I'm done." Like, whoa,
oh,
what's
geez.
Wow.
and it was that was so stressful. And so I was trying to juggle everything. I'm trying to do, train my clients, carpets, keep the vending machine stocked, and like everything was falling apart. And so that's when I decided to leave the personal training, which I loved. I was very passionate about it, and
Mhm.
I still have that passion. But I always knew it wasn't going to build the life that I wanted because it's not a business that I wanted to grow and scale and hire employees and grow. It's just a passion project for me, really. And so I left that behind, kind of made a big boy decision to leave that and grow the other businesses. And then shortly thereafter, I got a warehouse up in the big city itself and hired a stalker who lives up there. And that was a game changer because he was pretty reliable until he quit on the spot, which sucked, and you get burned by employees sometimes. But up until that point, he was really reliable. And then it's like, man, now this really feels like a business. And it was still, I think I had like 10 machines. There wasn't like, I don't know, maybe 10 grand of revenue coming in, but it was relatively automatic. And the guy he had his routine, he had his schedule, he knew how to pull the pick list, he had access to the warehouse.
Yeah.
So he was doing it, and it was great. And I rehired in the carpet business as well. So that was like the first turning point. And then I had a huge second quarter of this year. Actually, I think I installed like 10 or 12 machines. I like doubled the number of machines that I have, and the revenue, the business
Oh, that's
revenue,
incredible.
like doubled, or even maybe a little bit more than doubled as a result of that. And so that started really feeling like, wow, okay, there's some money coming in now, and I need to hire another guy, and we need a big warehouse space. And that really felt very, I mean, I was installing like almost a machine every week. So it was very busy, and I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to have the infrastructure in place to grow that quickly, but we figured it out. And so I feel pretty good about where we're at right now, and trying not to take my my foot off the gas, and just keep growing.
I commend you on that because a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning, they're like, hey, this is my business plan. This is how I'm going to follow. But like for you were able to you were agile, and one of the things that I always have seen in business is that, or even like with me running our route, is that it's okay to take a U-turn. It's okay to adjust. You'll figure out it along the way. Your body will do crazy things, and you will figure it out. Like it's not that hard, or it's not like, I'm not necessarily saying that's hard, and like it is scary in that moment, but just take that leap and go ahead and do it. So I commend you on that, of building that thing like an hour away from your house and doing all that and having the logistics of being able to put that together. That's incredible. With your locations that you were adding here this year, like what did you do differently there to kind of like, did you just focus more on the business? Did you do more pop-ins? Like how'd you get 10 to 12 locations here earlier this spring to kind of really catapult your business here to the next level?
It's mostly kind of a relatively long sales cycle, at least the longest sales cycle I've ever had. Definitely longer than door to door, where you get a yes or a no on the spot. But I mean, sometimes it takes 10, 12 weeks or even longer, 6, 7, 8 months. I've been chasing some leads. The fastest I've got is same week, but that was like a unicorn. It only happened to me once. And so all these yeses just kind of started trickling in for leads that I've been talking to for months. I really didn't do anything differently. This year's been pretty crazy in my personal life. And so I haven't been selling as much these past couple of months, which honestly, I'm really thankful that I'm afforded the opportunity to work 15, 20 hours a week, sometimes less. And like revenue is still coming in, because in my personal and family life, that's kind of what we need right now. So I feel really blessed to have that system in place where I'm still getting paid.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's been just these last couple of months that I've kind of made the family decision to slow down a little bit. But I mean, I was doing pop-ins once or twice a week. When I saw the opportunity, I focused really hard on it, because in the carpet cleaning business, it's very much seasonal. In the winter, when it's muddy outside and stuff, people tend not to want to get their carpets clean, because the dog's just going to track mud through the carpet anyways right after you leave. So like I've been through that seasonalness. With the vending machines though, it's not really seasonal, and it just stacks. You have one machine, and then you have two, then you have three, and then you have four. And it's not like a turn and burn like in the carpet business, where if you do get repeat customers, it's like once a year or every other year. It's not consistent. It's a good business, but it's just a different model. And so when I realized that consistency and saw the potential, particularly in my city, where just in the last 21 months, the competition has skyrocketed. But when I first started, my perception is that there was significantly less competition. I went hard, man. For how explosive that quarter was, it was nothing special. It's just the consistency, the follow-ups, and those yeses just all kind of trickled in independent of each other all at the same time.
So it looks like you didn't shy away from competition, huh?
Dude, I'm so competitive. Like I've been an athlete. I played sports my whole life, and I posted on this in our community once. But I had a competitor who's not within our community who has played dirty, like tried to intimidate, sent me like a cease and desist letter and tried to intimidate me, and has directly lied about me to property managers that we're going head to head with, trying to compete with. It's honestly, I wasn't happy about the money that I had to spend on a lawyer to respond to his cease and desist letter, but that lit a fire underneath me. And I think it did the opposite of I think when my perception is that he was trying to bully me and intimidate me out of business, and it did the exact opposite. I'm like, let's go, game on, buddy. If you wanna,
That's awesome,
you wanna go, let's go. I'm not doing anything
poke the
dirty. I'm
bear.
not damaging his machines or anything like that. But this guy's like, I've never had my character attacked ever, other than like by this guy. So now I have these property managers calling me like, hey, are you sure you can deliver what you promised? Because this guy's saying that you're a liar. And I'm like, I'm so embarrassed about this that I even have to do this, but I'm going to forward you all of the emails so that you have the paper trail to see that I'm telling you the truth about products that I can offer and relationships that I have and these things. And it's just been crazy. So no, I don't shy away from competition, man. Game on. Let's go.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
That's
Good for
great.
you.
Kyle, what's been the biggest challenge you've had with vending and like how have you pushed through? Was it when your employee dropped the keys off at the door? Was it what you just mentioned with competition? Just kind of walk us through that challenge of that you faced and how you got through it.
Yeah, I mean, like losing the employee on the spot was really tough, especially because, like I've already mentioned, it was like the perfect storm of everything all at once. So that was tough. But my response to that was just to hire multiple employees. So now I have two part-time guys, soon to be three. And so if one quits, either I can pick up the slack, which is not the entirety of the route, it's part of it, or my other guy can pick up some of that slack until we rehire. So you just learn from your losses and try and systemize out of them to protect yourself. That was tough. But honestly, also like managing the inventory as the business grew became tough because we used to be able to kind of just eyeball it. Oh yeah, we're getting low on that. We're getting low on that. I'll order some more of that. But there was one day I distinctly remember in the back of my mind, I knew this day was coming and was probably already here. But like I walked into the warehouse and the rack where we keep the Coke was like full. But then I came in like the next day or after that they stocked and it was almost empty. And I'm like, that was after one day of restocking. That used to last a month or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to figure out how to systemize this inventory and get the logistical stuff in place to where we don't run out of stuff. So we did, we got that all figured out. And the other piece that was difficult for us was, as we started scaling, if you only have a couple of machines, it's easy to see especially if you're the one stocking it, to see what's selling and what's not. Because you just go and you just see like this row's empty, this row's empty, this row is full. So I'm going to just make some adjustments there. But when you get up to like 15, 20, 25 machines, especially if you're not the one who's stocking, it becomes really difficult to like make those assessments because it takes so much time. Even if it only takes 10, 15 minutes per machine because you're pulling a sales report and you're looking at whatever. Well, you do that 20, 25 times and that time adds up. And so as a result, I promoted one of my drivers to be like a warehouse manager, which worked out well because he prefers the computer work and the warehouse stuff to the
That's
stocking.
smart.
And my other guy hates, come to find out, he actually hates being in the warehouse and prefers just to drive. And so now they just
worked
kind of
out.
Yeah, it worked out well. So now my warehouse manager does all the kitting and he's got I created a schedule for him to do like sales analysis of machines to pull and place product. And now the driver, he just shows up, loads his vehicle and goes. He doesn't have to kit. He doesn't have to do anything, and which is not what he likes to do anyways. So that's worked out really well.
Awesome. Hey, we appreciate your time for joining me and Mike on here today. So last question here. 21 months into it, approaching almost $500,000 in revenue and sales a year. What piece of advice or wisdom that you would give yourself 21 months ago when you just first started, like in retrospect? What would you say?
I honestly don't think I would tell myself anything. I don't think I'd do anything differently because I had the flexibility to do the pop-ins time-wise. If I had like a full-time job, I would tell myself, make some time to do pop-ins, but I had that opportunity. And so for new people coming in, that's the biggest thing is like learn how to do pop-ins. It's not crazy difficult, but there is a technique to it. Learn how to do it, hone your phrasing, like write your sales scripts, practice all that stuff, and then just go do it. Make the time and go do all the pop-ins and have a CRM, to where you don't lose track of your leads and all that basic stuff. But you just have to go, man. And if you're not out there hustling to get it, somebody else is going to. And if they're not in your city yet, they probably will be soon. And if they're not in the Vendingpreneurs group yet, they probably will be soon. So go and seize that opportunity while you have it. And I'm not perfect, in humbleness, I'm sure that, I know I've not done everything perfect. So is there advice that would have benefited me? Yeah, of course there was. But each of the mistakes that I've made, I've learned from and I think kind of capitalized on. And so I wouldn't necessarily change my journey, but I also had the opportunity to do everything that I felt I needed to do. So for people getting into it, go do the pop-ins, learn the pop-ins, have your flyer and practice your pitch and go do all that stuff. And then just go and don't stop until you've just reached the goals that you've set for yourself.
Well said, brother.
That's amazing. Kyle, a lot of people, I think, back to your pop-ins thing, they're not used to, in baseball, you strike out 7 times and your batting average is 300 and you're still going to the All-Star game. And that's where I think people they get discouraged, the whole failure thing you just mentioned. I mean, you're going to get rejected. I mean, whether it's carpet cleaning, personal training, or vending, I mean, life is all about what you learn from those rejections. And that's why I love that you wouldn't change anything because you learned from those things that happened to you.
For sure. Yeah. And I just take that for granted now. But yeah, I forget that a lot of people coming into this, because this is it's a relatively entry level business and sales position for a lot of people. But that failure is I don't even think about it anymore. I just accept that as part of like the gig. But, for every door I knocked on trying to sell a stupid DVR or newspaper subscription, like I was probably one for 50, right?
Yeah.
But when I got that one, I made $150 as a 14-year-old kid. And it felt, that's what I remember. I don't remember all the rejections. I remember that Oakland Raiders fan and how I sold him the DVR. And so, yeah, you can't let the rejection stop
And
you. You just go.
all it takes is that one,
Yeah.
like, I mean, shoot, I mean, you could join. I mean, there's been a number of people that have joined the community that have had a lot more success quicker than like I did. And then obviously you did, Kyle, but like banger location within like $4,000 or $5,000 revenue type location, like this stuff, like it could happen, but that's the thing that excites me, because you never know what you're walking into. Like that potentially could be a $4,000 to some as high as $10,000 or $12,000 location, and that could change your life like that.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
pretty
have two
powerful.
killer locations that are doing, five, God forbid, 10, 12 grand each. Then, man, that's an absolute game changer.
Kyle, this has been amazing. Thanks for, taking the time, sharing your insight. I love your story. I feel like there's so much more we didn't even get into, but just really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah. Until next time.